Yo, boys, we are going to be doing talking about the Qatar Supercard with the fight between Anis Gib and Slim Albahur versus and the other fights that are coming up on that card as well. And we're going to be doing a continued damage tournament, meaning that the damage that you take in the first round will carry over to the next round. So you can get into a 3 round war and be hurt as fuck and win, and then your next fight can be against somebody who just secured a first round knockout, basically. So what we're going to be doing in this format is I'm going to be letting the AIs fight on the highest difficulty. It's going to be real fighters. It's going to be my actual favorite real UFC fighters versus my created fighters. So we've got Cyril Gahn, which in terms of, because it's a stand-up only, in terms of stand-up, he's my favorite heavyweight. Curtis Blades is my favorite heavyweight, but Cyril Gahn's my favorite stand-up heavyweight. He's going to be going against Rocky Balboa, and then we got Mike Tyson versus John Fury, not Tyson Fury, it's John Fury, just because I don't know why I created him, but I did. I figured throw in Tyson there because he's a boxer and he's going to thrive in this. And I think personally, I think Mike Tyson's going to win because he has an easy first round against John Fury. And I think Cyril Gahn will win, but I think he'll be rocked a few times by Balboa. And then I think Tyson will blow through him easily. So my prediction is Gahn beats Balboa, probably third round decision. Tyson wins first round knockout. Kimbo Slice, I think, beats Andrew Tate first round knockout. And I think Ivan Drago will beat Tom Aspinall first round knockout. So then I think Slice will beat Drago mainly because Slice will have an easy win against Tate, potentially, maybe not, who knows. Tyson beats Gahn, and then I think Tyson knocks out Slice because I think Drago will hurt Kimbo Slice in their fight, and I don't think Gahn will hurt Tyson. I think Tyson will not be hurt that much. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this. Let's go ahead, pop into the first fight, and let's get to talking about this Qatar Supercard that we have coming up. So I'm going to be making predictions and stuff and just talking to you while you guys are, watching the fights. Here we go. Cyril Gahn. My prediction for this fight, by the way, is Cyril Gahn's second round knockout is my prediction. But anyways, let's get to talking about the real life fights that are occurring here. So first we've got a few that I don't care about. Tiki Taki, HS Tiki Taki, I don't care about that guy. Fuck him. He's gonna win, but I don't care about him. We've got Luis Pineda versus Swarms is the first one I want to talk about. So Luis Pineda versus Swarms. I think Swarms looks better than he's ever looked. He looks like he's finally starting to gain some experience and get some technical skill and speed down. You've got Pineda, who's got the experience, and I feel like, this is all based off of memory. I could be wrong. Maybe they've had a fight or two ever since the fights I'm talking about, because I don't watch every single fight. Swarms got knocked out by Ed Matthews in the first round. Ed Matthews came out like an absolute crackhead and just went for it, and he ended up clipping Swarms, and Swarms couldn't get back up, couldn't continue the fight. But he's looking good. My prediction for this, and Pineda obviously has the experience. Obviously, he got absolutely destroyed by KSI, but, KSI is KSI. And then Pineda has, ever since then, looked good and beaten, I'm pretty sure, everybody. He did a tag team fight. He looked good in. He did another fight. He's been looking good. Knocked a few guys out, pretty sure. So my prediction for this fight is I'm thinking a Pineda, do I think a finish or a decision? It depends how many rounds it is. I'm not exactly sure how many rounds it is. Fuck. Oh, I should have researched that shit. You know what, just for the hell of it, I'm gonna say Pineda knockout within 3 rounds. I'm going to say within 3 rounds, Pineda gets the knockout. I think Swarms looks good, but Pineda has the experience. I think Pineda is a strong starter. He just goes out and goes for it and swings, and I don't think Swarms has the experience or the IQ or the movement to deal with that. So I think Pineda will come out wild, rock. He'll probably knock down Swarms in the first 2 rounds at least one time. And I think once he does knock him down, I don't think Swarms will have the experience to deal with it, and I think Pineda will ultimately secure a TKO, not a clean knockout, but a TKO within 4 rounds. If it's a 3-round fight, then you can say Pineda decision. But if it's more than 3 rounds, I think Pineda will get a knockout. Because I don't know how long their fights last, if I'm being honest. So we got, and then the next, I don't know if this is in order, but we've got Chase Demore versus Kells. I think Kells looks somewhat decently technical. He looks a bit, him and Chase Demore look a bit stiff. We've got the heavyweights here going, so anything can happen. Um, Jason Moore's got the power, even though he looks very stiff when he's throwing, and he was trying to flex at the open workout yesterday and show off his power, which he's got decent power. He's in shape. He's starting to get a little bit more experience. He's starting to look a bit more snappy with his jab and his uppercut. Even though he does look stiff, he doesn't have a lot of experience, and neither does Kells. Kells looks like he's got somewhat crisp shots, but he doesn't look like he's got too much power behind it. So ultimately, when you got two inexperienced heavyweights, usually tend to believe that power will win probably 80% of the time because of the lack of experience. You know, you don't really know how to navigate around a power, but you know, he could have been trained specifically to circle away from the power hand and pick his shots and stuff. Maybe he's been trained. Maybe Kels has been trained to do that. But I don't think once it's man versus man in there, I don't think he'll be able to listen to his coach. I think the moment will get to him. And I think Chase Demore ultimately will secure a knockout probably in the second or third round. I don't know how many rounds it is, so somewhat early knockout. I would say second, third round knockout probably for Chase Demore. Um, I just don't see Chase Demore getting hurt at all in this fight, but who knows? Maybe who knows? And then we've got one of my sleeper picks, Lil Cray Cray versus Yuddy Gang TV. These guys, this is going to be the highest level boxing you're going to see on the card. By the way, Cyril Gone, can you go ahead and secure this fucking second round knockout like I predicted, please? But anyways, this is going to be the highest level of combat you're going to see on this card, other than, you know, maybe Slim and Gibb and Salt Poppy King Kenny, who knows. But this fight is a toss-up for me. I think whoever wins it will win by a decision. I think it'll be a close fight. If I had to pick one based off the open workouts, I'm going to say Yuddy Gang TV will get a decision. And I'm going to say he gets probably maybe one knockdown in this fight. I'm going to say he gets one knockdown, at least, maybe two. I'd say both guys are going to taste the canvas at least one time in this fight. But ultimately, I think Yuddy Gang TV will. I think he'll get an early knockdown, and he'll grind out some of the rounds. And then I think Lil Cray Cray might rock him or potentially knock him down later in the fight. But I don't think it'll matter. I don't think he'll get the finish. So I think Yuddy Gang will get a decision victory. And you know, I think no matter what, it goes to a decision. Now we've got Nick Lamal versus Warren Spencer. I don't see how Nick Lamal can win this fight. Watching the open workouts and stuff, he, you know, looks good. He just doesn't have the experience, and I think Warren Spencer has the technical ability enough and the IQ, the overall, maybe not the boxing, but the overall fighting IQ that Warren Spencer, I think he has enough of that to beat Nick Lamal. So I'm thinking Warren Spencer wins this by early knockout, potentially. I think Nick Lamal is going to be in for a rude awakening. I think maybe he would have beat Jay Swingler, who knows, but I doubt it. I think Jay Swingler probably would have won that. That was a rematch, but it got canceled. I hope Jay Swingler recovers well, whatever he's dealing with. I didn't read too much into it, but I love that guy. He's one of my favorite influencer boxers, and I hope he recovers well. Because I'd like to see this rematch one day. But, and you know, maybe if you do see him recover and Nick Lamal loses, maybe you see them rematch, and if Jay wins, maybe he goes on to fight Warren Spencer, which I think that would be a hell of a fight. So I've got Warren Spencer by knockout within 2 rounds, potentially. I think he'll hurt Nick, and I think Nick, early on in the fight, the first few punches, I think he'll feel the power and see the speed, and I think he'll get a bit shook, and all the training that he's done and the lack of experience will kick in. And I think he will be, he'll throw all of his training out of the window because he's inexperienced, and I think Warren Spencer ultimately will knock him out within potentially 2 rounds. And we've got Jarvis versus Ben Williams next. I think this is a pretty decent scrap here. I could be completely underestimating Jarvis, but I think Ben Williams will win this. and I think he will win this by a knockout because I don't see him being the type of guy to not go for a knockout. And you could say, he's got more experience than Jarvis, obviously. Maybe Ben Williams going for a knockout could potentially work against him. I just don't see it. I love Jarvis to death. He's also one of my favorite influencer boxers. But I think Ben Williams will get a knockout. I'm not sure how many rounds this is, but I think he'll get it in midway through. So if it is a 3-round fight, which I hope not, I think he'll get it in the second, third round. If it's a 6-round fight, I think he'll get it within probably the third round. If it's 8 rounds, which I don't think, no, it's not 8 rounds. I think it's 6 rounds, 5 or 6 rounds. Either way, look for a knockout. Whatever 2 rounds before the last round is in this fight, because I think midway through is when he's going to go for the knockout, and I think he will secure the knockout as well. I don't think Jarvis will be ready for it. Maybe. I've heard he's been having some fights overseas and kept it on the low. I heard he's been having some really good scraps. If that's true, then maybe you can see a Jarvis decision. But I'm saying a Ben Williams knockout midway through the fight. I'd love to see Jarvis win, though. Oh my god, Sorogon just got fucked. Damn, are we gonna have time for all these fights? Because we're already we're gonna start elaborating more on the main fights, so it's gonna take longer to talk about those anyways. Let's go ahead and skip all this. My fighter moves on. And I'm cheering, obviously, for my created fighters to win the tournament. I don't care who it is, honestly. I just want one of my created fighters to win. But we'll see what happens. Good job, Rocky Balboa. Absolutely a dominant victory there. But, so let's go ahead and get this next fight going. We're going to do the Slice and Tate fight now, which this fight most likely will end in the first round because it's Slice. I think Slice will end this in the first 3 minutes. So next we've got Deji versus Dawood Savage. I've been calling him Dawood, but I've heard everyone else call him Dawood, so I'm going to say it's Dawood. Deji versus Dawood Savage has been, not a lot of build up to it. It just got announced, I believe, like 3 days ago, 2-3 days ago. I think, obviously Deji, there we go, come on. Slice is this is the only fight you'll see me rooting against my created fighter. I don't like Andrew Tate. But, obviously Deji shoved Dawood Savage at the weigh-ins yesterday, and that maybe got in his head because Dawood Savage doesn't have a lot of experience. I don't like this opponent for Deji. I wish he would have picked someone who's actually going to be a challenge. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And I hope he doesn't go on to fight Danny Aarons after this. He needs to fight someone worthy. But I don't see how Deji doesn't secure a finish here. Dawood looks like he had some pretty natural speed, but he doesn't have anything else, in my opinion. He's got natural speed, but I think Deji's going to have the head movement and the IQ to let Dawood do all that, and I believe Deji will end this with a pretty vicious counter. I think Deji will end this with a brutal counter punch, and I think it's probably going to be like an uppercut that sits him down, and then Deji will go in for the finish and corner him because Dawood doesn't have a lot of experience. So I think Deji wins this in the first 2 rounds as well. I think he gets a knockout potentially in the first round, maybe the second round if Dawood can manage, because if you're assuming that the first round has a bit of a slow start, I think Deji will hurt him in the first round, but I don't think if it's too close to the end of the round, I think the finish will happen in the second round. But if Deji comes out early and hurts him, look for a first round knockout. Then we've got the Tiki Taki versus the Warrior guy. I don't care about either one of those guys. Tiki Taki's going to win because he looks good, and I don't know the other guy, so who cares about that fight? Tiki Taki's a douchebag. Salt Poppy versus King Kenny is one of my favorite fights on this card. It is going to be a war, I believe. Obviously, both guys look great. King Kenny tends to do some weird stuff in his fights. Not a lot of head movement with him. If you watch his open workout and just go back and watch any of his fights other than the one against Wenderson Nunes, King Kenny doesn't use a lot of head movement, and I think that's going to work against him because you've got Salt Poppy, who I believe is going to mask his power left hand in a way that King Kenny will not be ready for, and I think that the lack of head movement by King Kenny will get him tagged up by Salt Poppy's straight left and his hooks and everything. I believe he'll get tagged up, And I think ultimately that Salt Poppy will end up landing also a vicious counter punch. It'll be, I believe, a vicious counter left straight or potentially a hook. I'm going to say King Kenny comes in for something. I'm going to say he doesn't move his head that much. I'm going to say he tries to throw a jab, and I'm going to say Salt Poppy slips it and lands a big left hook or some left punch, some kind of left punch, after slipping a King Kenny jab. So I'm going to say that that will end up ending the fight. I'm going to say that if King Kenny wins, he wins by a decision. And if Salt Poppy wins, he wins by a, I'm going to say a late, no, I'm going to say I'm going to say a late knockout. I think the first 2 or 3 rounds, I think the first 2 rounds are going to be boring. I think you're going to see them fill each other out. So I think the first 2 rounds are going to be like snooze fest rounds. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll go out there and just go for it. You know what I mean? But I think they'll fill each other out. I think they're both a little cautious here, and I think Salt Poppy ultimately, him being, a counter fighter, and Kenny, you could say he's also kind of a counter fighter. When two counter fighters go against each other, you can usually expect a pretty boring decision unless somebody gets desperate and goes for it, and then, we'll see what happens then. But I think the first 2 rounds will be pretty boring, and then you'll see one of them end up. I think you'll probably see. King Kenny doesn't tend to do it, but I think he might try and go for it in this one, even though he doesn't do that a lot. Even though when he's been clearly losing fights, he sometimes has been clearly losing and still hasn't went for it. I think he will this time. I think it'll work against him because I think Salt Poppy will land a pretty good counter. He's probably going to step back and land a big left hand potentially, but we'll see. Um, it's just a good fight, man. I think it's 55-45 in favor of Salt Poppy potentially. I think people are forgetting who Salt Poppy is. If I'm being honest, I think. Oh my God. Let's watch this replay real quick. Left hook. Bang! There you go, Kimbo. But I need to see you lose the next round, and you've been hurt, I'm pretty sure, quite a bit. So hopefully that'll happen. But I just think it's slightly in favor of Salt Poppy. I think a lot of people have still forgotten who Salt Poppy is, if I'm being honest. I think quite a bit of people have forgotten that. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, he was actually never. No, yeah, he got stunned quite a bit there. Okay. But I think people are forgetting who Salt Poppy is just because he fought against Slim and he was losing a lot of weight and he got pretty tired and was throwing lazy punches. I think a lot of people are forgetting who he is. So I think he'll come out and put on a pretty decent show, and I think he will solidify himself as a um, top 4, top 5 influencer boxer. Jarvis, come here. Get up here. But yeah, that's what I think. Salt Poppy by a stoppage. No, 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 I'm changing it. Decision. I'm going to say a decision. I'm going to say he hurts Kenny, but I'm going to say he doesn't get crazy and goes for the pin. I'm going to say Salt Poppy decision, which you could say is kind of a crazy pick, but I'm thinking it's going to be a decision because I think the first early rounds will be kind of boring and you won't see a lot of action. And so I think those first rounds getting burned away like that will ultimately lead to a pretty boring decision win. So moving on to the main event, Anison Gibb versus Slim. I love both of these guys, just like I love basically everyone on this card. Oh my God, where do we even begin, man? Gibb looking good, in shape, obviously, cardio machine. Punches are looking, pretty good, but he looks a little bit off balance, and it kind of looks a bit unnatural when he's in there, working on the pads at the open workout. He looks a bit off balance, and what I think will happen, don't get me wrong, whoever wins, I'm happy for, right? Whoever wins this fight, I'm happy for them, because I love both of these guys to death. I don't want to see anyone get knocked out here. I just want to see a good fight, and then I want to see some respect at the end. I think whoever wins this will try and get a KSI fight. I don't think Gibb's too interested in it, because I think KSI would smoke Gibb. But, I know he would. I don't think he would. I know he would. Same for Slim. KSI would smoke Slim as well. I think Slim would put up a better fight than Gibb would, just because Slim is a bit wild at times, and he's got legitimate knockout power. Um, but Gibb looks a bit off balance when he's throwing. And how the fuck is Tyson getting worked by John Fury? What the fuck? How is this happening? So, I don't like John Fury either, no matter how entertaining he is. But but no, man, I think Gibb looks off balance when he's throwing. Doesn't look natural. Doesn't look too comfortable. I mean, he looks good. Don't get me wrong. He's legitimately increased his power, but I just don't like the balance. It just looks a bit, shaky when he's like hitting the pads at least. Maybe when he gets in there and fights, it'll be a bit different. But moving on to Slim. Slim, I think, looks good. I think Gibb, I seen the open workout when he was hitting pads with Leon Wills. I think they're expecting Slim to just throw overhands, which that's not what he's going to do. He's not going to throw overhands, like, constantly, you know what I mean? So I think they're thinking that, but it's just not going to happen. Slim, he's got his range. He's a bit of a smarter fighter than people give him credit for. He's got his range that he can, stay behind his jab. He's a bit of a crazy fighter. Gibb's going to bring volume to this fight, hands down. He's going to work the body, come in. He's going to slip the jabs, duck under the hooks. He's going to do what he needs to do. He's going to get in, work the body, body shot, left hook, like body, come upstairs with the left hook, right hook. He's gonna do his body head combinations, body head, body head, body head body, whatever. He's gonna do those combinations that he does because he's that guy. He's gonna get in there. He's gonna slip He's not gonna slip everything, but he's gonna slip the punches that he needs to slip. Get in there, body shot, headshot, get back out of range. Wait for another punch. He's gonna slip it. Body head, get back out of range, hop back out of range. The thing is, I don't think he wants to stand and bang with Slim, and he's saying that. He's saying, I dare you to stand in the middle and scrap out and scrap with me. That's not going to work in Gibbs' favor. I'm not saying he can't get in there and land a big shot on Slim and put him down. I just don't think he will. I think the way Slim fights, he's wild, and he's got legitimate power in his wildness. I don't think Gibb has fought somebody like that, and I think he's trained for it, but I don't think he'll be ready for it, because you can't really replicate someone's wildness, you know what I mean? Because sometimes it can be so random, you just don't know what it's, going to be. And I think that Slim will probably get a knockout here. Don't get me wrong, whoever wins, I'm happy for, like I've said before. I think if Gibb wins, it's either by a late KO or a decision. And I think if Slim wins, it's by an early to mid-fight KO. And this is an 8-round fight. I believe if this goes into the 5th round, I think Gibb's going to win. I think Gibb will win if this fight starts the 5th round, is what I believe. And how the fuck is Tyson about to lose this shit, man? What the fuck? So I think if the fight... Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Was that an uppercut? I wasn't watching. Oh my god, it was. Boom. Nice. Nice, Tyson. All my creative fighters are losing. What did my creative fighters go in the first round? Have I watched all the fights? I'm not sure. I think I've only watched 3 of them. But ultimately, I think that if I've only watched 3 fights, I'm going to skip the... Yeah. I'm going to simulate this fight. Aspinall wins by a decision, so he's going to be beat up pretty bad. Should we just skip to the finals? Yeah. Balboa wins by a decision. Oh my god, so he's going to be hurt as well. And Slice wins KO 2nd round. So if you look at this, Balboa, 3rd round KO and a decision. He's fought 6 rounds. He's been probably beaten up very, very probably potentially very bad by Tyson, unless Tyson was hurt so bad that Balboa just grinded out a decision and didn't get hurt that much more. But Slice, 2nd round knockout, twice in a row. 4 rounds he's fought. 2 good knockouts. Probably a dominant knockout after Aspinall's coming off a decision fight and probably getting beat up pretty bad. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to be watching this. I'm obviously rooting for Balboa because, it's my creative fighter. Let's see what happens. But like I was saying, I think Gibb will bring the volume. I think the volume will punish Slim, but Gibb is a slow starter. So I think Slim will knock down Gibb in the first 2 rounds, and I think Gibb will get up, obviously, and recover. Um, I think Gibb will, let's say this is just an example. It could happen any other way, but let's say whatever round he gets knocked down. Let's say Gibb gets knocked down. Let's say the first round's a bit of a filling out round. Say the first round they fill each other out, not a lot of action, maybe one big punch landed, possibly 2 or 3. And if they do get landed, it will be by Slim because Gibb is a slow starter. Let's say Slim knocks Gibb down in the second round, which is very likely, I would say. Pretty likely, not very likely, pretty likely. Think Slim won't get stupid and go in for the finish. Maybe he will. Maybe he will, who knows? Potentially, it depends on how hurt Gibb is. It depends if he smells blood in the water. I think Gibb will get up, recover. He'll take that 10-8 loss in that round, and then the next round, I think he'll spin that round. He'll recover on the stool, and he'll come out in the next round, and he might get a win. Nice little third round win. Nice little 10-9. Maybe even win the fourth and fifth round. Get a nice little 10-9 after getting knocked down. I don't think the volume will punish Slim enough to take away his power. So what I'm thinking is going to happen here is I'm thinking you're going to see Slim win potentially the first 3 rounds. I would say up to the first 3 rounds are basically guaranteed to be him. And you see Leon Wills, I believe, any song Gibbs trainer or coach, I'm not sure. I think it was Leon Wills that said the last 4 rounds are Gibbs rounds, guaranteed. I don't know. I would say the last 3 rounds are probably guaranteed to be Gibbs. Rounds 6, 7, and 8. I would say you could say are pretty much guaranteed to be Gibbs rounds if it makes it that far. I don't think it'll make it that far. The question is what happens in rounds 1 through 5. I think if you see Slim knock Gibb down, that's a 10-8 round right there. So let's run through a hypothetical here while this finals is going on. Let's say first round, no action. Gibbs volume wins him the first round. Let's say that. Let's just say it hypothetically, even though I don't think it. No, I don't think that happens. No, let's just say Slim lands a big shot, and there's not a lot of action. Gibb doesn't throw a lot of volume yet because he's saving. Let's say Slim lands 1 or 2 big punches, which is enough to undoubtedly win him the round. 10-9. Boom. 10-9 right there. 1-0. Then, let's say Slim knocks down Gibb, and Gibb doesn't do anything to respond in the second round. That's 10-8. So that's already right there. That's already 20-17 right there. And then let's say, Slim wins the third round. Nice little 10-9 round in the third round. You've got 30-26 right there. Gibb, if he gets a 10-9 for the rest of the rounds, I think that would mean he would win. But basically what I'm saying is, I don't feel like doing all this math on the spot. Basically what I'm saying here is if Slim knocks Gibb down in 2 different rounds early on, Gibb's going to have to do more than just grind out the last 3 or 4 rounds with 10-9 wins each time. He's going to have to legitimately hurt Slim and knock him down and get a 10-8 of his own. If Slim, mark my word, if Slim knocks Gibb down in 2 different rounds, no matter what round it is, those are automatically 10-8 rounds, unless Gibb does so much in the round and dominates the whole round and then gets knocked down at the last second. Then I believe that would be a 9-9, potentially, right? So, I think if Slim can win the rounds, it doesn't look good for Balboa, by the way, but I think whoever lands the big shot first, I think will win. I think whoever wins this wins with the overhand right, by the way, in this Balboa and Kimbo Slice fight. You might see Kimbo Slice throw an overhand, and you might see Balboa land a right hook as a counter. I think that's my prediction for this fight. But anyways, if Slim gets 2 10-8 rounds, I think he'll win this fight, because I don't think Gibb can just rely on cardio, survive until the end, and then grind out the rounds. I don't think that'll happen, especially if Slim gets 2 10-8 rounds. Gibb will be hurt so much to the point where I don't know if he can do that. Because you see Gibbs fight with Austin McBroom. He got knocked down in the first round and then came out to knock down Austin 5 times and ended up getting the knockout win, which is one of my favorite performances in influencer boxing history. Don't get me wrong, that's one of my favorite fights ever because Gibb was so dominant. But Austin McBroom is no Slim. He's not even half as good as Slim. If you throw both of those in a ring, if you throw Austin McBroom and Slim in a ring, Slim beats him first round knockout every single time. 10 times out of 10. Hands down. Gibb is stepping up a lot here. And, you've seen him work Jarvis in a decision. He couldn't finish Jarvis. If you throw Jarvis in there with Slim, I think Slim eats Jarvis alive. Knocks him out within 3 rounds. 10 times out of 10. It's a big, big step up for both of these guys here. And Slim's knockout against Salt Poppy. Gibb, loves to say weight drain, weight drain. He wasn't as weight drained as people think he was. I don't think he was weight drained at all, if I'm being honest with you. However, I think if you were to ask me what win is more impressive between Slim knocking out Salt Poppy, who was much lighter than he previously had been, but he wasn't weight drained, he was in shape. He just ended up gassing out within a few rounds. If you ask me if his knockout against Salt Poppy was more impressive, or if Gibbs' decision dominance against Jarvis, which one was more impressive, I would say Slim's knockout on Salt Poppy. Because Salt Poppy was winning early on, and, I'll give it to you that he got tired and he was throwing lazy punches, and you could argue it was more of a mistake on Salt Poppy rather than Slim finding him out. So that knockout, you could say, is more of Salt Poppy's fault than it is Slim, figuring something out. You could say it was more of a mistake from Salt Poppy, basically. And, I would say, okay, that's valid. That's probably most likely true. However, and, you're not going to see Gibb get tired. So that's the thing. You're not going to see Gibb get tired. So Slim won't be able to get a gassed out Gibb and knock him out. That's not going to be a possibility. What he can get is a hurt Gibb. He can get a very hurt Gibb early on and grind out, and maybe even get a decision or something, who knows, but he can get a hurt Gibb to beat. He can't get a tired Gibb to beat. That's the thing. Does Gibb have the IQ to withstand the early 3-round onslaught that's going to occur from Slim? Undoubtedly. I don't know, man. If you see Gibb get knocked down one time, I think Gibb can grind out a decision. If you see Gibb get knocked down twice early on, I think Gibb will lose the fight because I think he'll be too hurt. Can Slim get too wild and get caught with something? Absolutely. Let's not get it twisted. Gibb can knock out Slim. He can knock out Slim. He can do it. He will have to do it after 4 rounds, in my opinion. I don't see an early KO for Gibb. I think if Gibb, that's my second time saying that. I think if Gibb gets an early knockout, I think the earliest knockout will be round 4. And damn it, my creative fighters got fucked in this tournament. But it's fun. I think the earliest knockout you'll see from Gibb is a 4th round knockout. I think the latest knockout you'll see from Slim is also a 4th round knockout. So don't get it twisted. I think the 4th round, I think the 3rd and 4th round will be the 2 biggest rounds of this fight. Because you can basically give Slim the first 2 rounds, and you can basically give Gibb the last 3 rounds. So that's round 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8 covered. So how about the 3, 4, and 5? I think those rounds will determine the fight. I think Slim potentially wins round 3, and I think Gibb most likely wins round 5. So right there, you have Slim 1, 2, 3, and you have Gibb 5, 6, 7, and 8, potentially 5. But it depends on the 4th round, and it depends, will Slim get 2 knockdowns and get 2 10-8 rounds? Because if you give Slim 2 10-8 rounds, maybe even 3 10-8 rounds, the last few rounds that Gibb gets, they won't matter. So you could potentially, depending on how this goes, you could and I don't want to say it, even though it would be good for promotion, promotional value, you could see a draw. Let's not get this twisted. You could see Gibb get the knockdowns, or sorry, you could see Slim get the knockdowns early on, and then you could see Gibb recover and work out his rounds, get a bunch of 10-9 rounds, maybe even hurt Slim a time or two. You could see that. And obviously, you would have Slim and KSI very angry if it were to get called a draw, because obviously Slim would have knocked down Gibb a few times, maybe twice. He would knock Gibb down, and Gibb wouldn't get a knockdown or anything, and you would have KSI and Slim being like, he knocked you down twice, or one time, or three times. He knocked you down. You didn't hurt him at all. How was this a draw? And then you're going to have them agree to run it back, and they're going to be like, all right, bitch, let's fucking run it back. And Slim, the whole build-up of the next fight, you're going to see Slim, I'm going to finish you this time. If I knock you down, I'm coming in for the kill. You're going to see Gibb like, come and do that, motherfucker. Come and do that. See what happens. I don't want to say it, but I think my ultimate prediction is a Slim knockout. I would say 53 to 47% in favor of Slim. It's a very close fight. I think Slim gets the knockout in the third round. So that's my prediction for that. What is the second? And interestingly enough, I don't think the second most likely outcome is a Gibb decision. I think the second most likely outcome is a draw. I'll say it right here and right now. If this ends in a draw, do not be surprised. This has a recipe for a draw. You have one guy who gets the early knockdowns and will usually get pretty tired, but he gets the early knockdowns, the early 10-8 rounds, versus the guy who literally starts slow and will give him those 10-8 rounds, but then proceed to use his cardio to get a bunch of 10-9 rounds afterwards. This has a recipe for a draw. An absolute recipe for a draw. Do not be surprised if this happens. But I'm saying Gibb being a slow starter will work against him, and Slim will get a third round knockout. That's my prediction. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Let's see how my fighters did. So we have Balboa versus Gone. Balboa won. So my fighters are 1-0, and then they're 1-1 because Tyson beat Fury. Tate lost to Slice, so they're 1-2, and then Aspinall beat Drago, so they're 1-3. And then Balboa beat Tyson, 2-3, and then he lost, so 2-4. So my creative fighters went 2-4. We can go ahead and pop into a replay here if you guys want, just to remind you of what happened. Boom. Look at that. Boom. But yeah, guys, that's what I'm thinking for these fights. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm wrong on what pick, if you think whatever. Let me know what your predictions are. And we'll see. None of my predictions are going to change. This is what I believe for every single fight. I'm not going to think too much about it anymore. I'm just ready for the fights, man. And I'll give my thoughts after the event. Hopefully I'll be able to watch it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and see ya.